Annyeong Buzz. Welcome back to the channel where we talk about everything K-pop, every beat, every moment, and every buzz that makes our hearts go dugun-dugun. Today we're diving into something truly legendary. Twice just made history at Lollapalooza Chicago 2025. And honestly, even as I'm saying this, it still feels surreal. So here's the thing. Twice didn't just perform at Lollapalooza, they headlined it. Yeah, you heard that right. Headliner, the main act, the crown jewel of the night. And to make it even crazier, they were the only K-pop group on the lineup. Only Twice. Now, if you've been following Lollapalooza for a while, you know how big of a deal this is. This is one of the most iconic music festivals in the US, where names like Billie Eilish, Metallica, and Post Malone have all taken the stage. And now, Twice is standing right with them. How insane is that? The moment they stepped onto that Chicago stage on August 2nd, it wasn't just another concert, it was history in motion. They opened their set with The Feels, and let me tell you, that was the perfect opener. The moment those first beats dropped and Nayeon's voice hit the mic, the crowd went wild. You could literally feel the energy shift. It was like every once in the audience collectively screamed, "We made it!" I mean, can we talk about how powerful that opening was? Nayeon and Jihyo's vocals were crisp, confident, and full of emotion. You could tell Twice came prepared to own that stage. And the best part? They weren't relying on flashy gimmicks. It was pure performance, charisma, and connection. Their outfits were another thing fans couldn't stop talking about. White and denim with a touch of sparkle. It was so them, classy, cohesive, but still effortlessly cool. You know how Twice has that special talent for making simple concepts look iconic? Yeah, this was that. And here's the part that still blows my mind. They performed 21 songs. Yes, 21. Full choreographies, live vocals, non-stop energy, and not a single dull moment. That's over an hour of continuous performance. Like, how do they even have the stamina for that? I get tired just walking upstairs, and they're out here singing, dancing, and smiling through a full set under festival lights. Unreal. But honestly, that's what sets Twice apart. Their work ethic has always been next level. They've been in the game for 10 years now, and instead of slowing down, they're breaking more records, more barriers, and more expectations. Now, I have to pause here and ask, who do you think stood out the most during that Lollapalooza stage? Because from what I've seen, every member brought something special. Nayeon and Jihyo absolutely owned their vocals. Momo was fierce as always. And then there was that breakdance moment. Oh my god. Mid-performance, Momo and Nayeon hit the floor, literally, and pulled off a breakdance section that had the entire crowd screaming. You could hear it even in the clips fans posted online. The energy just skyrocketed. It was one of those "did they just do that" moments that instantly goes viral. Twice showing off another side of their artistry. Not just cute, not just elegant, but badass and confident. And that's something I really appreciate about Twice lately. They've evolved so much from their early Cheer Up and TT days. Those songs will always be iconic, don't get me wrong, but now they're showing maturity, growth, and range. Their latest song, This Is For, fits perfectly into that narrative. It's empowering, confident, and a reflection of how far they've come as artists and as women. You can feel that transformation in every stage they do now. Watching Twice at Lollapalooza wasn't just watching a girl group, it felt like watching global artists at their peak, fully in control of their craft. And the production, wow. The lighting, the synchronization, the drone show that painted the sky above the crowd. Everything screamed main event. Even Western media outlets have been highlighting how impressive their stage was, saying Twice delivered one of the most visually stunning performances of the festival. It's honestly heartwarming to see how Twice's journey keeps inspiring both fans and other K-pop groups. 10 years ago, people questioned whether a girl group could sustain long-term success. Now, Twice is out here headlining one of the biggest festivals in America. If that's not proof of their impact, I don't know what is. And you know what I love most? Their connection with the audience. You could tell they were genuinely having fun on stage. Between songs, the members kept smiling, waving, and interacting with fans, Not just Korean fans, but a huge mix of international ones and general festival goers who were just vibing to their music. That's what makes Twice so powerful. They break language barriers. Their music is universal. You don't need to understand Korean to feel Twice's energy. Their charisma speaks louder than words. But let's take a second and really think about this moment. This isn't just Twice achieving something for themselves. This is a milestone for K-pop as a whole. Because think about it. How many K-pop girl groups have been given the main stage at a Western festival before? None. Twice did that. They became the first girl group to headline Lollapalooza in history. That's not just a title, it's a statement. It's a sign that K-pop is no longer breaking into the global scene. It's already in it, leading, defining, and inspiring. And it's so fitting that Twice are the ones to set that record. They've always represented unity, consistency, and heart. They're not chasing trends, they're creating timeless moments. And this one, right here, will go down in pop culture history. So let's talk about how Twice wrapped up their unforgettable night at Lollapalooza. After more than an hour of pure energy, 21 songs, and non-stop choreography, they closed their set with Feel Special. And honestly, that choice couldn't have been more perfect. Think about it. Feel Special is a song about gratitude, resilience, and finding light in the middle of chaos. It's like a love letter to their fans, to each other, and to their journey. Ending their historic stage with that song, that's storytelling through music. As the final chorus played, each member took turns approaching the camera, smiling, waving, and saying thank you. You could see the emotion in their faces, pride, happiness, maybe even a bit of disbelief. They knew what this moment meant. They weren't just performing, they were making history. I watched a few fan cams from that ending, and honestly, even through the screen, it felt emotional. The crowd was waving light sticks, singing along, and shouting their names. Some fans were crying. And I get it, because for ones who have been there since debut, this was such a full circle moment. From their trainee days and survival show struggles, to standing on one of the biggest music festival stages in the world. It's like, wow, these girls who started with Like are now representing K-pop to tens of thousands of international fans in Chicago. You can't script that kind of story. And what's really amazing is how Twice continues to balance that global scale with sincerity. Even with all the lights, the prestige, the cameras, they still take a moment to say thank you in multiple languages. They still look directly into the lens and speak from the heart. That's something rare in the industry. They've stayed grounded, and fans can feel that. Now, something that stood out in the online reactions, not just from onces, but from people who weren't even fans, was how tight their performance was. People were genuinely impressed by their live vocals. And yes, let's address that. Twice performed live. 21 songs, full choreo, and they still sounded stable, clear, and full of energy. It's like they were saying, we don't need to prove anything, but here's a reminder that we're professionals. And that professionalism is exactly why they've lasted this long. You don't survive 10 years in K-pop by accident. You survive because you adapt, you grow, and you keep your passion alive. I think that's also why Twice, being the only K-pop group at Lollapalooza, was so powerful. It wasn't just about filling a diversity quota, it was because they've earned that spot. They've proven their global appeal over and over again. Now, let's be real for a second. Can we imagine the pressure they must have felt? Performing in front of thousands of Western festival goers, many of whom might not even know all their songs, and still keeping that audience engaged for over an hour? That's no small task. But they did it. And not only did they do it, they owned it. That's why the reactions have been so overwhelmingly positive. From fans, from local media, even from casual listeners who happen to catch their set. People are saying things like, I didn't know much about Twice before, but now I'm a fan. And that's exactly what festivals like Lollapalooza are for, to reach new people, to bridge music cultures, to connect through performance. It's the kind of exposure that keeps expanding the global reach of K-pop one unforgettable stage at a time. Now, I want to bring this back to you guys for a bit. Do you think this moment marks a new era for Twice? Because personally, I do. We've seen them conquer the charts, win Daesangs, and fill stadiums across Asia. But now they're stepping into global legacy territory. They're not just K-pop idols anymore. They're icons of international pop culture. And here's another question that I've been thinking about. If Twice can headline a major US festival like Lollapalooza, which other girl groups do you think could follow in their footsteps? I'm talking maybe Blackpink again, New Jeans, or even GIDE. Who do you think has that same potential to cross over and hold a massive Western audience like that? Let's talk about it in the comments, because I think this performance might open more doors for other K-pop girl groups in the years to come. But still, for now, Twice stands alone in this achievement. They made history as the first ever K-pop girl group to headline Lollapalooza. That's a sentence we'll be hearing for years. And honestly, I think this is just the beginning of a new phase for them. They're not trying to reinvent themselves just to fit trends. They're refining who they are, keeping that Twice identity, but showing the world that it's powerful enough to stand on any stage. Their performance at Lollapalooza 2025 wasn't just a concert, it was a declaration. A declaration that Twice has evolved from cute girl group to global powerhouse. And you know what? As fans, as spectators, as part of this K-pop generation, it's kind of emotional to witness that in real time. Because one day, when people talk about the history of K-pop's rise in the global scene, this moment will be one of those key chapters. So to Twice, if any of you ever happen to see this, congratulations. You didn't just make once proud. You made every K-pop fan proud. And to everyone watching this video, whether you're a longtime fan or someone who just stumbled upon Twice through this performance, I want to know your thoughts. What was your favorite part of their Lollapalooza stage? The opening with the feels, the breakdance moment with Momo and Nayeon, or maybe the emotional ending with Feel Special? Tell me in the comments. Also, do you think Twice should do more festivals like this in the future? Because imagine them on Coachella next. That would be crazy. All right, my buzzers, that's all for today's deep dive. Twice didn't just perform. They made a statement that will echo across the music world. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to stay updated on the latest K-pop stories that actually matter, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell. Because here on Young Buzz, we don't just report the news, we live the music. See you in the next video. And Young Buzz, signing off.